We are back with more of My Southern Homily with Sara Jimenez with Somm in the City. And thanks for joining us again.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you have a very exciting news. You have launched your own olive oil line.
Yes, I have. As an extension of Somm in the City, I launched Somm in the Grove. Because as far as wine is concerned, I am a certified sommelier, but then I've always been teaching about olive oil in my wine classes and decided, you know what, it's time to launch my own brand. Recently just did my olive oil sommelier certification, so now I'm a certified wine and olive somm, which is really exciting. And so my focus is, of course, like wine, where I focus on organic, biodynamic, and sustainable. We're focusing on sustainable monovarietals for olive oil, which essentially is single varietals from Spain and Italy.
So what made you so passionate about starting your own olive oil line?
Yes, well, one was because there's so much misinformation out there about what really makes extra virgin olive oil extra virgin. And of course, why is it at this price point and why is it suddenly exploding? So one, I really wanted to get to the bottom of what makes olive oil so fantastic and what is good olive oil versus bad olive oil, just like wine. On top of that, it kind of brought back my chef roots. So prior to me being a sommelier, I was a private chef and a pastry chef for the longest time, and that's where I actually started my career. And so it almost came full circle with Somm in the Grove. And so now I get to focus on small production, smaller groves that are doing really good sustainable things out in their groves. And of course it all translates to wine, because good food and good wine, there's honestly nothing better.
Well, there isn't anything better, and I have to give a shout out to Magnolia Acres for allowing us to be here today. I can't think of a more beautiful setting to talk about wine and olive oil.
Yes, honestly, this is the most perfect kitchen that I have seen in a while. And if you're into hosting dinner parties, especially, we have the summer, but then we have the fall season coming up, and then we're getting into the entertaining. And if you're like me, you entertain all summer. And what I really wanted to showcase was how versatile olive oil was. And you can kind of intertwine it every day in your life. If you have wines that have a bit of acidity, like this Cava or this Chianti, the fat and olive oil goes hand in hand and really helps play with the flavors and the textures. You can also add olive oil to your cheese board as well as popcorn. So everything you can possibly think of. If you feel a little more daring, however, you can easily put your olive oil in your espresso martinis.
And Sara, you made some ice cream at your media event with your olive oil, and it was absolutely scrumptious.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes, so bringing back to my pastry chef roots, frozen desserts was always my favorite class. It was always my specialty when I was a pastry chef. And so olive oil ice cream, knowing that I had these olive oils, I had to do it. But see, just like wine, there is an olive oil for every occasion. So what I do with my ice cream is when I feel like I want something a little bit smoother, a little bit more medium, that I can top with the lemon zest and orange like I did at the event, I used my Picual because that is a medium varietal. This comes out of Toledo, Spain. But if I wanted something with a little more spice, like maybe you wanted to make an ice cream that had a little bit more of a peppery note, maybe bring in a little bit more of that artichoke, then I would go for the Cortina, which is actually sourced from Puglia, from sustainable groves.
You know, it's so interesting to hear you talk about the different varietals, because when it comes to olives, I just think an olive is an olive. Mm-hmm. But just like wine, there's all of these different types of olives.
It is so true, and that's why I really wanted to focus on these monovarietals or single varietals, because I felt that they have such a place in gastronomy. They have such a place, and I feel like a lot of times what you're getting in the supermarkets or in retail stores, it's not necessarily that it's bad, it's just a lot of them are blends, and they're coming from other countries. And I really wanted to showcase what Spain can do, what Italy can do, and then hopefully in the future, some more countries some days.
Well, one of the things that I learned from you a long time ago is that lots of times when you go to a grocery store and you're buying olive oil, if you turn that label around, the first ingredient is not olives.
Yes.
It's canola oil or something else. So you really do have to be careful about what you're putting in your body.
It is very true. And I come from an industry, especially working in wine and spirits, where my diet is riddled with inflammation. And so olive oil, especially because I focus on, so both of my olive oils that you'll see from Spain and Puglia, they are green olive oils. So what this means is that they are picked and harvested early. On top of that, but the time it takes between getting them off of the trees in the groves into the milling process, It's literally within a few hours, sometimes even within an hour. And what's so important about that is because we make sure to pick green, and I made sure to pick varietals with high polyphenols, because this is where you're getting all of those rich antioxidants. Sure, sometimes you may feel a little pungency in your throat, but when I tell you the antioxidant benefits are worth it, that is an understatement. Plus, they just go so well with foods. And what happens at the grocery stores and any other stores, a lot of times, you do turn that bottle around, and sometimes you do see a refined oil in the ingredients, or you see olives coming from all types of different countries, but then it's packed in a completely separate country. And you have to think about those things. How long does it take for those olives to get there? And that's where I wanted to come in to, again, focus on those single varietals and single countries, because that's what's so important. And it also helps highlight these producers that, let's just say, don't make these large volumes, but they need to be noticed.
And Sara, when it comes to olive oil, there's a misconception about the smoke points.
Yes, and so when I was a chef, I definitely had that misconception, but after learning and recipe developing and testing, both of these oils, including all of the other oils I'm going to launch, have a smoke point of 405 degrees. So honestly, you can even go as far as roasting and grilling with these, and you can still have all those beautiful antioxidants in your food, as well as fantastic olive oil to finish your meal.
Well, Sara, I know that we're really good friends, and if you follow me on social media, you see her face a lot, but I'm not just saying this because we're friends. I use her olive oil, and it is absolutely delicious. So where can people get it?
Thank you so much. Yeah, so you can get it directly online through Somm in the City, through Instagram, as well as my website. But also, if you're in the Spring Hill, Nashville area, you can find this at Light Hill Meats. And so they are a local farm-to-table butcher. They have they raise their own cattle, they have their own farms, and you can find Somm in the Grove there.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be back with more My Southern Home in just a moment.